I never expected this series to go on for this long. I thought this was just going to be a 4-week thing, and boom, we'd be done, move on to the next thing. But week after week, people kept submitting their hot takes to where I just kept making these videos, and it's been a highlight of each week. However, we're finally reaching a point to where the submissions are slowing down, and I'm becoming less burnout. I'm starting to come up with theories with 21 Pilot stuff again, and I'm mentally ready to talk about more lore. So, that being said, this is the final episode before we go on hiatus. But that being said, all leftover theories in the hot take form will be right out this Friday in the Coffee Corner live stream. So, without further ado, good morning, good afternoon, or good night, depending on when you're watching this. How's it going, guys? First off, hope you're having a good day today. Hope your day's going well and hope it continues to go well. Welcome to the last regular episode of the 21 Pilot Hot Take series. Now, if you have a 21 Pilot hot take, this is your last chance to submit it before we go on hiatus, so whatever is left over in here will be read in the Coffee Corner on Friday. And today we're focusing on all of the miscellaneous stuff, the stuff that don't fit into any other category, such as Tyler, Josh, live show, eras, etc. All that is in here. We do not have a lot today, so this might be a short episode, but without further ado, let's get right into it. The final one before we go on hiatus. They need to add Forest and Clear back on the set list or I will riot. I mean, to be fair, they did add Forest back on the set list for the Icy Tour. However, in full though, definitely would love to see that. As far as Clear, I would love to see that on the set list, and or would just love to see that live in general, because the live footage still does not exist. No one knows where it's at, even though there are some people that claim it's been played live before. No footage exists at the current moment, but I'm always having my eyes open. The opener for the Icy Tour, Good Day Into No Chances, was the best song/songs on the tour. It's an absolute bop, genuinely one of my favorite 21 Pilot openings of all time. Don't get me wrong, I love Trench Jumpsuit going into Levitate, going into either Heavy Duty Soul or Fairly Local, depending on what leg of the tour you went on, but there's something magical about Good Day Into No Chances, whether that be Dan Sally, or whether it be just starting off with this great piano stuff, then just immediately going heavy then. Just love it. The live stream version of Follow Away with Dr. Bloom is super underrated. Definitely, in my opinion, the best version of Follow Away. I will always mention this when Follow Away comes up, especially with Dr. Bloom, but I was very fortunate to see this version live on the Trench Tour. I think the second leg, I want to say, it was at the Brace Jordan Center, which is Middle Pennsylvania at Penn State. Mr. Wise were opening, and Dr. Bloom was there, opened up with Somewhere Over the Rainbow, and then into Follow Away, and it was fantastic. One of my biggest bragging rights as a 21 Pilots fan, got to hear this one live. Side live stream experience was underwhelming at best, and they absolutely butchered Migraine on it. I would love for you to explain more. I would love to know your thought process on why the live stream experience was underwhelming, and I would love more examples from you, my friend. And as far as Migraine goes, I'm guessing you are talking about the very verse part, because in the studio version, Tyler goes, I got a migraine, and like that whole nasally high voice, and when Tyler did it on the live stream, was I got more chest voice, more in the back of the throat. Every time I've seen Tyler do Migraine live, both Icy Tour, Takeover Tour, and also Trench Tour, same thing that I saw the Follow Away of Dr. Bloom, he did Migraine the same exact way there. And haven't looked up many performances of Migraine live, but I don't know if that's something he just always does, or if something he's done in recent years, starting with Trench Tour, but I thought Migraine was fine. In Clear, Tyler says, I wish that I had two faces to prove which theory works, yelling on the street corner or cleverly masking your words. It is apparent and has even been proved that Tyler speaks a lot to God and about his faith in his songs, and it appears he chooses option number 2, cleverly masking his words. This is great, except that he hasn't said a word about God in any interview and doesn't seem to be adamant professing his faith And the Bible talks about being hot or cold, not lukewarm. I know he said because I'm a Christian in an interview, but faith without works is dead. That being said, I love Tyler in everything he does for the people. Also, Trench reigns supreme. Tyler does mention God in a couple of interviews throughout various terms and eras throughout 21 Pilots history, like the Zane Lowe interview going into Trench immediately jumps out at me, as well as him talking about old songs from No Fun Intended, such as Blasphemy. But also, I think it's a thing that with Tyler's faith, let him be. Like, if he is, if he's still a Christian, he's a Christian. If he's not a Christian anymore, that's fine. Let him be on his own thing. It's not our job to say what he is or what he isn't. That's all Tyler's thing. And also, the reason why he chooses option 2, cleverly masking your words, is just because, well, that's how to get more people's interpretation. After all, 21 Pilots is a band that likes their songs open-ended, and that way people can interpret them throughout however their own meanings. So like, people looked at Heavy Dirty Soul as a song about God, but some people looked at it as a song about someone else trying to save them, whether that be a friend or a family member. Some people will look at Goner as a song talking to God, saying, save me, to where someone will go to a friend or therapist saying, save me. And those themes still continue throughout the Trench era, such as Leave the City, and you can even throw some songs inside in there as well. But at the end of the day, if he is, he is. If he isn't, he isn't. It's not our place to say or judge if he is or isn't. When I listen to the recreated versions of the 21 Pilots songs, I'm mostly only a fan of the songs with Josh in them, MTV Unplugged and TOP X Mute Math. As a drummer, this is probably understandable. Josh is underrated in my opinion. Josh 100% is a very, very underrated drummer, especially because like his kit is very minimalistic, which is something I absolutely love. His drumming is fantastic. And of course, as a drummer, definitely can see why you love the MTV Unplugged and the TOP X Mute Math rather than the location sessions where it is strictly just Tyler. Do you also feel the same way about Redecorate live during the Isotour when it was Tyler reconstructing? Just curious on that note. No, definitely can see where you're coming from. And honestly, kind of agree with you, actually. Like, I love Tyler, love Cut My Lip Brooklyn, and The Hype Berlin's the best version of The Hype. However, I listen to TOP X Mute Math a lot more than the location sessions. They lost something with Psy. Live performances does not appear to be so intimate or good anymore. I hope next album will be darker and not overproduced. Unplugged was their lowest point, I hope. I really want to hear more about that last part because a lot of people love MTV Unplugged, and there's a couple people, and we're going to get to one later, that don't like MTV Unplugged. There's a small little section. I want to know the thought process behind that one. Genuinely super, super curious. And I also wonder if you're a fan of the location sessions, because hypothetically, if you're a fan of the location sessions, you should be a fan of the MTV Unplugged, because they're basically kind of the same thing. Digression here. As far as them losing something with Psy and like the live show not being as intimate, I definitely think they were jamming in as many songs as they could, just because a lot of people wanted songs on the set list. It was the first time out in forever, so they wanted just to do as much as they could, because the heart of it, 21 Pilots is a live band, so they wanted to do as many songs as they could live. And as far as intimacy, oh boy, they were super intimate Takeover Tour Night 1 in every city besides Columbus, because small intimate venue. But I know a lot of people who enjoyed the past 2 tours, but you definitely can have your own opinion about the live show not being good, but I definitely do agree that I want the next album to be darker sounding. I wish they would go back to making music that's similar to Vessel. This lore thing is interesting, but I can't relate to their music as much now that I know most of their songs have to do with the lore. The thing is, 21 Pilots writes their music to where, sure, you can listen to it for the lore sense, but not every song. In fact, every song they've written doesn't have to be a part of the lore, except for Nico and the Niners. But Nico and the Niners is basically the only exception to this, in my opinion. But you can still take any 21 Pilots song and relate it to your own personal life. Like, for example, I relate no chances in my personal life as like my demons and dark thoughts coming to get me when I'm having a good day, and then boom, randomly I'm sad and crying for no reason. That's what No Chances is about for me. You can the great thing with 21 Pilots is everything is so open-ended. You can interpret it any way you want, as we discussed before. So you can listen to songs for the lore, however, you don't have to. You can listen to it for your own sense. The only one that gets super weird is Nico and Niners. What about Morph? You can still turn Morph into, sure, the second verse gets a little jumbled with Nicholas Bourbaki. He's got no friends close. No snooze and most. No, he goes by Nico. I'm really tired. But regardless, you can still morph any 21 Pilot song into having meaning in your own life. 2B shows would be better if the pianos and drums were switched. So you mean just flipping where Tyler and Josh are? So instead of them being, sorry guys, instead of them being like this, they would swap sides? Is that because you like the left side more, or the right side more? What? Aesthetically? I don't know. Put Josh center. Put Josh center. Why not? The lore has been a detriment to how the fanbase interprets the music and the lyrics. The lore is done specifically to add new layers and is heavy symbolic and metaphorical. However, all I see people talking about is literal lore meaning anymore. Of course, people are going to talk about the lore a lot because that's what's on people's minds, and it's a whole puzzle piece that we're all trying to put together that has many puzzle pieces that are in the dark that have been lost in the couch that we are just trying to figure out and jamming pieces into places. That's what a lot of people are on. However, people still talk about the literal meaning to their music stuff. Of course, on this channel, we focus on the lore because that's what most people want to hear about rather than actual song meanings, which was what Pop Song Professor's channel was great at doing and still is. We're gonna miss Pop Song Professor in the next era so much, but I still see people talking about the literal meaning of the songs anymore. And also, with the literal meaning of the songs, as we've been discussing, it's super subjective to your own personal life. Of course, Tyler has his own meaning to his songs. However, my meaning to Choker isn't your meaning to Choker. My meaning and your meaning of Choker isn't someone else's meaning of Choker, so on and so forth. Adequate Pen to me, it speaks volumes to where to you it could just be a sentence. Like mine's a whole book, yours could be a sentence on Adequate Pen. So on and so forth. To where the lore has grounds that can be like we're all trying to figure out compared to personal meanings of songs. MTV Unplugged wasn't that good. The concept was really cool, but the execution wasn't great outside of Car Radio and Heathens. The songs chosen were very strange too. The lack of trees or holding on to you seemed odd, as well as the lack of chlorine. I like this one because they explained their little personal issues with MTV Unplugged. As far as them not doing chlorine, I mean, we got chlorine during the location session, so it doesn't make sense for them to hop to it twice. I mean, they didn't do a level of concern, they didn't do Cut My Lip, they didn't do the hype, or, those three. They didn't do those three in terms of these breakdowns. And as far as why not Holding On To You, Tyler does a stripped down version of Holding On To You on piano, so I think that's why he didn't choose that. Trees, you can argue we got the live stream version of Trees with Heathens in it, but then again, that may not be a good argument there. I don't know. But Car Radio Heathens is definitely my favorite thing there. And I think they were choosing songs that they never really experimented around with doing in that broken down live looping session. And of course, since you're on MTV Unplugged, gotta do the popular ones. Gotta do the popular ones because you're gonna be on TV, so you gotta do Ride, you gotta do Tear My Heart, you gotta do Stressed Out. Those are your popular ones. You gotta do those. The same thing as Heathens, you gotta do the popular ones. 80s music isn't good, second worst genre of music. I wasn't going to throw this in here, I was about to delete it, and then my girlfriend's like, you have a big issue with this one, so just put it in the video and explain. So, congrats, you're here. So me to say, 80s music is not a genre, that is a whole decade. Be more specific. Are you talking about synthwave of Tears for Fears of Duran Duran? Are you talking about thrash metal of Anthrax, Metallica's Megadeth, and Slayer? Are you talking about 80s hair metal with Def Leppard, Motley Crue, Poison? Are you talking about the rap scene? Or are you talking about NWA and Straight Outta Compton? Are you talking about the country scene, the jazz scene? You can't say you hate a whole decade of music and say it's the second worst genre, because it's not a genre. It is a decade of music. It's like me saying the 2000s is the worst genre of music. What am I talking about? Am I talking about the top 40 stuff? Am I talking about new metal? Am I talking about rap, R&B, country? 80s is not a genre. I think you might be talking about synthwave. I think you might be talking about synthwave and all that stuff, but it's not a genre. And finally, side live shows have been the best ones they have ever made. Both the Isotour and Takeover Tour have been better than any other theme shows they have put on. As someone who has seen them twice on the Takeover Tour and has been to a Takeover as well as an Isotour, 100% an Isotour always will be my favorite concert because they played At It With a Pen live. The other 3 shows did not give me that, and I doubt I'll get that in the future, which is sad, so Isotour will always be there for me. Until they play At It With a Pen in completion, then I can die happy. But anyway, guys, that is the end of today's miscellaneous TOP Hot Takes episode. Like I said, this forum will be open till Friday, then I'll read every other hot take in, no matter how long it takes, in the coffee corner, until I have to go to work and do sound. But anyway, guys, whatever hot take you have left, go ahead and submit this to this. No, pizza is not allowed to go in here, but I will see you all tomorrow. Goodbye, and good night. More importantly, have a good day, and I'll see you later.